What's your hustle, George?
This place was it was a ghost town.
This is George. He pushed through the tough times, facing doubts and financial struggles.
If anybody could do it, I could do it. So I would take on the challenge. But when the challenge came, I felt like it could be that I had put my foot in my mouth.
Today's story follows George from MilliUp, a journey that shows grit isn't optional, it's everything. You're watching The Hustle Stories.
Well, I started off in entertainment. MilliUp started off as ordinary record label, right? There was production, there was songwriting, there was talent, and then performances came along, and then events themselves started happening, and sponsorships started happening, and next thing you know, I was in the events business. It happened just like that.
But even with all the changes, the beginning wasn't easy. George had to hustle to make the events business work, but the hard work wasn't paying off just yet. The real challenge was still ahead.
My first day in business, it was pretty quiet. Nothing really happened. In fact, that was the same for the first 90 days in business. Nothing really happened. Again, this place was it was a ghost town.
It wasn't all smooth sailing at first. The early days were filled with uncertainty and doubt as George faced a tough crowd and the challenge of getting people to take him seriously. But even when it seemed like nothing was working, George kept pushing forward, believing that with time, things would change.
September 11th, 9/11, believe it or not, I believe somewhere around there was our first booking, and it was a baby's first birthday party, and it turned out to be amazing. And then we used that content to push it. People just sort of started calling in, getting more inquiries. Our first inquiry came after that consistently.
While things were still slowly picking up after that first event, the breakthrough came sooner than expected. It was a turning point for George and his family, who faced tough decisions, but their commitment to making the business work was unwavering.
I have a 15, 16-year-old son now, and my wife of 20 years. Like, this is our family business. And they were both like, hey, we're on board. Whatever this looks like, we're gonna go through it with you. Right? So what that looked like for us was selling all of our assets, right? Just to stay in business, right? That's cars. Like, I took a full U-Haul truck and sold everything that was in it, like the entire house, and downsized into an apartment.
With the family's unwavering support, George was determined to make it work. Despite the personal sacrifices, they took the plunge into a new chapter. But as circumstances shifted and the market changed, George faced a critical decision that would redefine the direction of their business and lead him to explore new opportunities.
And then COVID hit, and this place shut down as the epicenter, and a bunch of homes started to skyrocket as far as prices goes. Now that same home that was $250,000 is now $650,000 on the housing market. So by the time I was ready to make that down payment for a home for me and my family, I just didn't feel like it was a good investment anymore. So I started to look into real estate, commercial real estate, and I wanted to do something regarding the MilliUp Event Center, but not necessarily this. It was going to be more of a fitness center for my wife, so that she can get out and do some dance classes and things of that nature. But I took that savings, that $25,000, and I just got started, right? Got this place, gutted it all out, repainted it all up, made it look pretty decent for people to come in, and gave them the freedom to have the type of events that they would want. So our slogan is, celebrate your way.
As the housing market shifted, George turned to real estate. But his wife's guidance and research led them to focus on growing the MilliUp Event Center, turning it into something much bigger.
My wife, her resilience to not let me quit, to not let me feel like there is something that I'm doing wrong when all I'm doing is trying. I think her mentorship to say, hey, this is what I see. This is what is going on in the world as well from doing her own research. I think all of the data that she's given me has let me understand how the events business works, right? So we've gone from doing events where we've had 20 people here to now we have the rooftop venue as well. We call it Rooftop at the Mecca upstairs, and we're hosting 1,000 people per event. So it's just a understanding of the logistics and all of the things that go into it. So I do believe that my biggest mentor, my biggest partner in all of this, my biggest go-to would be my wife, because she's the one who's not necessarily in the field with me. So she's doing all of the field research based off of data that she can find. And she brings that data back, and I work off of the data that she has. So I think that's the partnership and all of the things that helps her. And then alongside of that, she'll also come up here and help clean up, you know? So it can't be stuff like that. Like if you find a true partner that'll work with you like that, I think that's a absolute wonderful opportunity to have a partner, not necessarily a wife, but just a partner who's willing to put that grind in with you.
With his wife's unwavering support and strategic insights, George navigated the complexities of the events business. Her research helped them scale from small gatherings to large events, and together they tapped into the power of social media to amplify their brand and reach a wider audience.
The marketing channels that we use most are social media, right? Without a doubt. Well, is social media. So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all of those platforms. I think on all social media, we have over 100,000 followers. So those followers take all of the content that we have from MilliUp and they turn it into whatever thing it happens, right? We have some videos that have millions of views. We have some videos that have tens of views, right? So it's just the people that gravitate towards it based off of the need that they have for the content. So we try to continuously push new content to those social media markets and make sure that people understand that from a marketing standpoint, you can be as creative as possible. But what actually works is only going to be what the people accept.
With a growing social media following, George's brand became a hub for celebration. MilliUp now honors not just their milestones, but those of entrepreneurs and entertainers worldwide.
We celebrate everybody's milestones. So I think MilliUp has a place not only here in Charlotte, but it has a place where everybody can celebrate across the world, really.